I am Shane Jones, making headlines tonight. The Prime Minister highlights the need for the Caribbean's private sector to be integrated. The Caribbean Development Bank gives a wake-up call to borrowing member states. A startling revelation as the Attorney General explains why terrorism must be taken seriously in Barbados. And in sport, South Africa dropped their third World Cup match in a row as India win their opener.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC Newsnight, starting now.
Leading the news at 7, the integration of the private sector in the Caribbean is a critical aspect of the region's efforts to spur economic growth. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Mottley underscored the point as she met with chief executive officers from several Caribbean states. Kent Jerson has the details.
Addressing the regional private sector players attending the meeting, Prime Minister Mottley stressed the importance of that sector and labor to economic growth.
It is impossible for us to see the growth of the regional economies and the creation of a single economy without understanding truly how best we can work with the entities that are the factors of production.
It's for that reason she underscored the need for the region's private sector to become integrated and a type of associate institution of CARICOM. She said work is ongoing to facilitate the integration.
The work that will soon be completed, I hope, by the CSME unit to put before both finance ministers and heads of government in that order over the course of the next few months with respect to the integration of the financial markets and the ability to be able to allow us to unlock access to capital will become one of the most important decisions in my view, not just for you as the private sector or for us as governments that will want to see growth in our economies, but also as a signal to the international community that this region is not prepared just simply to speak to the international community in a mendicant framework, that we will do our own part for our own growth and development.
Among the private sector leaders attending the meeting was President and Group Chief Executive Officer of the Massey Group of Companies, E. Gervais Warner. He said they were discussing how to establish a Caribbean private sector organization to engage with heads of government on issues surrounding the implementation of the Caribbean single market and economy.
What we want to make sure that we have within this organization is a structure that would allow us in each of the countries to find a way to hold meetings and to have engagement with even a broader set of actors and participants who may not necessarily be members of the council but would be able to, and who you'd pull in to specific issues.
The meeting involved private sector players from Barbados, Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, Guyana, Suriname, and Belize. Kent Jerson, CBC News.
Thanks, Kent. Another milestone for Sagicor as a memorandum of understanding was inked with the Barbados Community College in support of active aging. Through the partnership, the BCC will provide training for staff of the Estates of St. George, which is currently being constructed, certifying them to work in elder care. The MOU was signed by Director of Sagicor Financial Incorporated, Dr. Janine Coma, and BCC Principal Annette Aline. Given the high number of centenarians in Barbados, Acting Minister of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, Senator Lucille Moe, welcomed the Estates project. She says it will allow the elderly to age gracefully.
The Estate at St. George venture is timely as the government of Barbados continues to seek to ensure that a high standard of living for all and the continuous development of all of our citizens. The financial returns and economic gains to be derived from this venture through occupancy from both Barbadians and Caribbean nationals is indicative of Barbados still being an attractive domain for investment.
Group President at Sagicor, Doddridge Miller, says the company remains committed to improving the lives of people.
These are not just words for us. We live this philosophy every day through our considerable and ongoing investments in the area of education, health, and sports. This initiative responds to at least two of these areas. I deliberately use the word investment as against sponsorship. At Sagicor, we're not just interested in donating to a short-term activity, although we support many of these. We are interested in contributing to initiatives that ensure sustainability of effort and which can deliver long-term benefits to our communities.
This special report on the 49th annual meeting of the Caribbean Development Bank's Board of Governors is brought to you by LIAT and the BIDC.
The 49th annual meeting of the Board of Governors of this Caribbean Development Bank officially got underway this morning at the Hyatt Hotel in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, Ryan Broom is covering the meeting and joins us live now with the latest on the critical issues being discussed. Hi, good evening, Ryan.
Hi, good evening, Shane. Good evening, viewers. Well, you are correct. This meeting has been looking at some of those critical issues that are important, not just for Barbados, but other countries in the region. And two of the major platforms are poverty reduction and reducing inequality. Now, President of the CDB, Dr. Warren Smith, he put a lot of these things into context because they're trying to get these things done in the next 10 years. And so he expressed some concern about what is happening now in terms of the pace of that push. President of the CDB, Dr. Warren Smith, says borrowing member countries are moving far too slowly to implement critical measures by 2030.
We are moving too slowly in doing those things which will ensure that by the year 2030, our region will have delivered on our promise to eliminate poverty and to reduce inequality. The theme is also consistent with our conviction at the CDB that our borrowing member countries are, for the most part, now on the right track.
And he says it is therefore critical for our borrowing member countries to step up the pace of the reform agenda.
This agenda challenges us to refashion our borrowing member countries so that our people become the ultimate beneficiaries of sustainable development and shared prosperity. There is an expectation that this change will improve our people's well-being by creating greater access to decent jobs, lead to a closer alignment between labor market requirements and the quality of skills provided by our education systems, foster the emergence of appropriate ecosystem to unleash the dynamism of the medium, small, and micro enterprises, and offer adequate protection for vulnerable and disadvantaged groups.
Still, Dr. Smith says all is not lost.
First, we need to reflect on the reasons for the derailment. Next, we must draw lessons from the experience and adjust our plans and strategies accordingly. Then, most importantly, we must accelerate the pace at which corrective measures are put in place.
Now, also sharing her perspective was the Honorable Camille Robinson Regis, and she's the chairperson of the Board of Governors of the CDB.
This year's theme, transformation, is especially pertinent to the region as this meeting presents an opportunity for the exchange of ideas, approaches, and innovation, and the further opportunity for us to learn from each other whilst we place the region's development at the forefront. This year's theme also represents an extension of last year's, as the region seeks to progress from a period of resilience building to one where our efforts now include the pursuit of a comprehensive set of transformational strategies that will allow us to firmly tackle the modern and complex challenges that present themselves while simultaneously stimulating growth and development in the region.
Now, Shane, since that opening ceremony, we've had a series of seminars throughout the day, and actually the last one would have ended just a short while ago, but the first one dealt with agriculture, the second one dealt with building resilience, where our own Minister of Economic Affairs, Ms. Marcia Cattle, she spoke, and I'm going to have more details and some extracts from that seminar in tomorrow's news. But for now, that's it from here at the Hyatt Regency in Trinidad and Tobago. It's back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Okay, stay safe. We look forward to you continuing to keep us updated. Pay close attention to this. Attorney General Dale Marshall says at least one Barbadian has joined the terrorist organization ISIS. He made the revelation while leading off debate on the Customs Amendment Number 2 Bill 2019. He says a new approach must be taken to dealing with criminal activity, and this is why the major organized crime and anti-corruption unit is being established, and that's to counter terrorism.
Something, Mr. Speaker, that we would probably have scoffed at if somebody said it was possible. They could perhaps see it happening in Trinidad. They might see it happening in Jamaica, but never Barbados. But it has happened here, sir. And it can be no credit to us that we have a Barbadian in ISIS. It can't. We want to have Bajans in the UN. We want to have them in Brussels. We want to have them in the highest levels of the international community, sir, but we don't want to have them. We don't want to have them, sir, in entities that are known for terrorist activity.
One song and $100,000 prize money for this year's Pickety Crop Finals might be changing the face of the island's premier competition. Take a look. A thorough inspection of those registered for this year's Pickety Crop competition shows 23 from Cave Shepherd All Stars, 12 from The Big Show, 22 from House of Soca, 11 from Shining Stars, 10 from Stray Cats, 15 from Super Gladiators, and 3 unattached for a whopping 96 competitors. Now the change has pulled in some new names and brought back some old ones. Let's look at some of them. Among the first-timers, Marvey, Joaquin, Faith, and Stiffy have all registered along with the last 2 winners of the Junior Monarch competition, Quan and Sparkle T, now performing as Terry. Ramesses is in for the first time with his song called Ramesses, and we are seeing the return of TC, Peter Ram, Lil Rick, Edwin, and Big Yairi. And listen to this. After 20 years away from the Pickety Crop stage, even Sammy Dello is back. NCF CEO Carol Roberts-Reefer says the registration shows that they've made the right choice.
We took the sum of what you would have saved by not having the semifinals and spread it across the finals. But then we also needed a catch, something that would make people come out. And again, if we are honest with ourselves, how many times have you gone and you said, oh, so-and-so got one song, got two solid songs, and all the discussion. And we thought that one song would give you that edge that would make the Calypsonians say, I got to bring my best game. And then, of course, the option of the vehicle or $100,000.
The Pickety Crop Finals is slated for August the 2nd. Well, the NCF CEO also had some great news for lovers of steel pan music. Pan Pandisan is now free after previously announcing that the major cropover event would be carrying a fee from this year. Ms. Roberts-Reefer revealed to the CBC that her team has found a solution. She told us that an anonymous sponsor has come on board to partner with the NCF and Massey to make the event entirely free. Lieutenant David Harewood has been dismissed from the Barbados Defense Force. The 18-year veteran was found guilty at the end of his court-martial at St. Anne's Fort yesterday. The decision was made by a 6-member CARICOM military panel. Harewood, who was attached to the Barbados Coast Guard, was found guilty of neglect to the prejudice of good order and military discipline by not informing his superiors about a threat to Ordinary Seaman Marlon Scott. The former senior Coast Guard officer was also found guilty of engaging in conduct that prejudiced and the good order and military discipline by carrying out unauthorized information gathering operations at various locations between January 1st and September 30th last year. He was originally on 4 charges, but 2 relating to communicating with the enemy were dropped. Checking in with our regional neighbors now, Guyana's top cop says the improved response to criminal activities by the police force has contributed to the reduction in crime across the country. He's also encouraging citizens to ensure their reports of criminal activity are taken seriously.
I would urge that whenever any citizen of the state of Guyana experiences our encounters, any lackluster response or poor response after a call is made to our 911, there are channels within the force that reports of such can be made.
Jamaica's Minister of Agriculture has pledged to assist inmates at a correctional facility in getting their products into local and regional markets. He commended the inmates for their efforts in producing the goods for sale. TVJ reports.
After touring the facility on Tuesday, Agriculture Minister Audley Shaw says he was so impressed by the work of inmates and their facilitators in growing crops and making several products that he wants to help them find markets. Products he says he's never seen anywhere else: cashew beer, potato ketchup, and tamarind syrup, to name a few. Locally, the minister wants to target hotels and supermarkets, but he stressed that it's the global scene that holds the most opportunities.
The Caribbean common market, 15 countries are out there can buy from us. The diaspora, mostly Canada, England, the United States, right? Third country markets that are looking for exotic things.